Kathy, I'm going back downstairs so you can come upstairs and make dinner and everything.
You're live.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just setting up over here so I can have a better location to go and do everything. How are we doing today? Haven't been here in a while, and I'm here to go and kind of lay some interesting news on everybody and tell you what's happening. First, I do have to bring up that today we lost a really great musician and a musical innovator. His name is Badal Roy. He's a tabla player, and he's best known for like doing On the Corner with Miles and really kind of setting up that kind of sound in this music. He was the first one to really do that. Leave it up to Miles, of course, right? And so anyway, he passed away today at 77. If everybody could say a little prayer for Badal. He was a beautiful guy, man, and a great, great player. So anyway, what is happening here? Well, I am about to go and to move to Portugal. My wife and I are going to set up a base there. We were just there for a while. We went to Europe for 6 weeks and got the lay of the land. And it's time for me to exit and spread the wings and make a new vibe happen over in Europe. It's so much different over there. You go over there and people really recognize your work and they really appreciate what you've done. The conversations get really deep, and I just don't know whether, I've given everything I could give to everybody over here. And, you see the results and you want to keep on going. I mean, right now where I'm at, I could just say, okay, well, time to stop. But after 48 years, I'm still not ready. And I got more music and more ideas and more things happening. And it's time for me to go and, start the next chapter and everything. And we had a great time over there. It's an awesome place, man. We hung out with Yvonne Lins. We're going to do some stuff together. Met some really wonderful people. Went to Paris and Brussels and London and came back. And, hopefully we'll sell the house and be on our way and still be on Facebook and stay in touch with everybody and see what's going on. And the other big thing that's really cooking is that after all of this time, my book is now done. And it's called The Extraordinary Journey of Jason Miles, a musical biography. And what it is, it's a series of short stories where I'm telling the stories of making the albums with Miles Davis and Luther Vandross. And you're right inside the studio with me. Why everything was going down. I got a really good long-term memory, terrible short-term memory. I can't remember your name from 1 minute to the next. But I went and wrote this book about just all my experiences, starting when I came back to New York. And like I said, it's not like a bio or a memoir, but it's like all these different stories. Like I tell a story about making Power of Love with Luther. That's like 25 pages. Tell the story about making Tutu and a mandala and David Sanborn Close Up, and then some of my projects, A Love Affair, music of Yvonne Lins, being on the road with Global Noise, how I came up with the Kind of New project. These are all the stories and everything. And then I'm going to go and hopefully the story is that I'm going to start a GoFundMe page, and hopefully next week. And I'm asking people to not give me money to go on another vacation, but to buy my book in advance. And you buy the book in advance. And what I'm doing also is that I'm releasing a solo piano and trio album that's bundled with the book. So if you buy the book, you get the album as well. And it always surprised me that more musicians never did that. And that's what I'm going to do. So you get a free bonus there. I'm going to have different tiers. And the most expensive tier will be I come to your house and play for 15 of your friends and give them the book and do a concert for you. And I have another one where you can come up here and Kathy and I will take you to Storm King Arts Center and take you out to lunch and everything. So, so we've been doing some thinking and everything, and I'm going to need everybody's help to make this happen the right way because, the book is so high quality. You'll see on the GoFundMe how many great, amazing quotes I've got from some of the best music writers in the world that have read the book already and just gave me incredible feedback. So I'm very excited about it, and I hope, to get the support of it and everything. But it's not like anything you've ever read before. And it's not like, talking about, my bar mitzvah and things that happened to me, it's talking about, the reality, what people really want to hear about. What was it like being in the studio with Luther for 4 months? Just me, Marcus, Luther, Ray Bardani, and Nat Adderley at times. What was that like? Well, the small community, man, and a lot of stuff comes out of that. And I'm bringing you right inside of the moment. And I think that everybody will enjoy it because it's stuff you never heard before. What is it like when Miles Davis calls you up at 10 o'clock at night and wants you to come over to his house because he's upset about something, and you live 50 miles away? All the stories I have. And so that's going to happen. And I hope to have the book out in a few months. I'm talking to self-publisher people and everything. And I have like a publicist, and we're getting the cover design. So next week or the week after, I'm going to be starting my GoFundMe, and I really hope that you will participate and show me a little love, man, because we've given the love back so many years to so many people, and now it's time to tell the story and everything. And I've been also going, and I have 6 albums in the can right now too that are just sitting there and waiting. And one of the things that I'm really been thinking about is I'm thinking about not releasing it publicly anymore. I'm thinking about just getting a Patreon thing and just giving music out to people that are the Patreons of all the different years. I've got some live stuff that is just incredible. I mean, really incredible. I got Global Noise at the Highline Ballroom with Bernie Worrell, Michelle Indegiacello, Christian Scott, Jeff Coffin, Cafe, Brian Dunn, Jerry Brooks, and DJ Logic, Falu. And it's an awesome concert. And I'm thinking, why should I put it out there? Why not give it to people that will really appreciate it? So I'm really thinking about doing stuff like that. I've got another one of me playing my Miles to Miles project with Cindy Blackman and James Genus and Aaron Hike and Barry Donnellian and Sherrod Barnes. And that sounded great. So, I'm very kind of, in the moment now of like, what do people buy anymore? What do people listen to? I mean, you know, isn't it just good if you get like the core people that will really appreciate your music than trying to keep on pounding it down? People listen to my music, check my Spotify page. And so that's something else that we're going and doing with, because this thing has got to change. We have to change things around over here. You have great songwriters that I've known my whole life that are working at Home Depot or doing something like that because there's no outlets anymore, for their songs, and they're great songs and they're great songwriters. But the way that it is now, I mean, it seems like that you need 6 people to write a song. And I don't know, Carole King did a pretty good job writing by herself, right? I don't know what's going on anymore because I can't figure it out, and it's a different world. And you know what? In a lot of ways, I'm not supposed to. Generations change all the time, and what happens with the generations. You're getting 25-year-old kids right now that maybe watch Disney Plus and see the Beatles, and they might not understand what it really meant to us. Us older folks. And we got to start to do that. We also got to start to mentor more younger people about what it's really like out there, and give them some street smarts rather than just having them learn scales, because not everybody's ready to come out here and go on the road. I'm just telling you that right now. It's not what everybody thinks it is, man. And it really takes education and hard work to understand how to go and maneuver your way through this music business and everything. And I'm not saying that I know the modern music business because I don't even think I recognize it anymore. What the story is, but I can just tell you the way that I do it. And so I'm looking to do that also, and mentor more people, do Skype production lessons with more people and everything, because this year, this past year, I got to make this album for this artist I've been working with a long time, Rebecca Angel, and since the pandemic was here, nobody was working, and so I got to make this album of hers called Love Life Choices. That's a real studio produced album with amazing players, the best players who were all sitting around doing nothing for 2 years, basically. And so many of them played that I know that played on the record, Reggie Washington and Gene Lake, Cyril Baptista, Romero Lubambo. And, I kind of got to craft it the way that I'm used to doing it and really spend the time to do it. And I think that's something else that's really missing a lot from the whole record vibe and everything, is that we've gone away from, the kind of records that we used to love. We used to keep on listening to them over and over and over and over again. and I don't pick that up anymore. I'm having trouble listening. I'm having trouble listening, getting through a whole album of somebody these days, because it just doesn't have the cohesiveness that I really remember was so important. Making making the way we used to make albums. I mean, there's a reason why albums sold millions and millions of copies. There's a reason why people buy Adele albums and everything, because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there were real songs with real melodies and everything. And no matter what the story is, and I'm saying this to all kinds of musicians out there now, music has survived on melodies. It hasn't survived on arrangements and scales and improvisation and everything. It's revolved around melodies. Look at I was listening to Sirius Radio the other day, and John Coltrane was playing, and we're playing Impressions. You know how easy that melody is to play, and yet everybody knows it. You know, listen to, like, So What. You know that immediately when you hear it. People have gotten away from that, and I think that that's the only way that music comes back for real, is when we bring out material to people that they're going to remember and want to keep on playing over and over and over again, because it just sinks inside you. That's why you go to, like, a Steely Dan concert. Everybody knows the words to the music, everybody knows the melodies, because they're so penetrating and they mean so much to you about your own personal life and what's happening, that it stayed with you all of this time, for as complicated as it is. And I know that kids listen to it, to music, and they really kind of listen to the lyrics, and they're like singing it along with people at times and everything. It's just not the same that you feel like it's going to last for, decades. It's like, like I said, you watch that Beatles documentary and you see the way that they're working in the studio together, man. It's like just unbelievable, man, the creative flow that they were able to do together, you know, and just see what's happening. We got to get kind of back to that, more of the interaction between the artists and the musicians, and making it so it's kind of like that real collective effort. Like somebody might have the idea, but there's ideas going around to make it work, and that's how it used to be. That's how it used to be. When you see these pictures, like you see pictures of Bill Evans at the piano and Miles over there, and they're writing little things down, or you see pictures of Gil Evans, or you see pictures of even going back to the '70s or the '80s. And look, I'm really fortunate, man, because I was there for the heyday. There's no doubt about it. When I came back to New York, a synthesizer was, a monophonic thing where you can play one note, and it was really like, not a lot you could really do except make some kind of analog sounds and everything. And I had an ARP Odyssey. And as you watched it go, I realized that I was there from the birth of the whole thing, and I was able to grow with the whole thing, you know, and grow, to where I can keep on building the music with all the instruments that were coming out and everything. So the sound was always changing. And, and if you listen to a lot of music from, say, 1979 or 19 to 80 to 1984, the people that were using the synthesizers back then, because they were expensive, were really some amazing guys, because they really got into it, man. And there were so many incredible records that were made, you know. Who's a Facebook user says, right you are. Melody creates moments in memory. You are exactly right, my friend. I mean, how many times, do you know? What do you think they do it at weddings, or our song, when I was working on Here and Now with Luther Vandross, and I tell the story of it, I mean, we were sitting there. It took everybody literally like 2 minutes into the demo to know that this was a song that was going to be a smash, that Here and Now was going to be an absolute smash with Luther singing that song. And to this day, people play it at weddings, people play it, everybody's got their favorite songs for their weddings and everything like that. And, many of them are like totally memorable songs. It just stays with you. The melody just doesn't leave. And we got to get back to that, man, because 20 years from now, is anybody going to be listening to the music that's out there right now? Is that going to be out there? Or are people going to be still wanting to license songs from the 60s and the 70s and even the 80s, because the music was so strong, and the lyrics and the melody and the whole thing, it's just, we're not getting that. So I appreciate the comment that somebody's at least picking up on it and everything. That, I mean, are we ever going to see like the Beatles again? Are we ever going to see like a Bruce Springsteen again, or Elton John, or people like that will go down in just like history? Who do we have now that we can go and actually think that in 20 years from now, their music will be still on the forefront? I guarantee you, man, and I hope I make it to 90. Herbie Hancock says, when you turn a certain age, stop counting. He said that to me. So that's what I'm doing. But you know, when you see a certain thing and everything, this music will remain timeless, just like music from the 40s and 30s, you know. But the music from the 2000s plus, is that going to do something other than, you know, the Macarena or a novelty song or something like that, or just the few songs that have made it by? I hope so, you know. Um, if anybody's online, and I don't know, there could be two people watching right now, you know, but if anybody's got a question they want to ask me, be more than willing to go and to throw it up there, man. I'd be more than happy to talk about anything, you know. Um, there's some painful moments going on here that I'm selling my piano, which is really tough. Not to sell it, but to get rid of it after 35 years of having this beautiful piano that we can't take with us. And I'm selling my vinyl collection, my cherished vinyl collection of over 500 albums. And you know, if I wasn't so committed to try to, you know, create this new life and this new thing, you know, I wouldn't go. Why the move to Portugal specifically, Gail W. Boyd? Well, the move is because, you know, friends. First of all, I love Europe. Okay, so let's get into that thing. You know, I mean, I love the whole laid backness of, you know, cafes and then the fresh food everywhere you go to. There's no like high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that. You know, the history that's there and the way that it's melded into the modern world is really something else. The way that it's there. Look, I'll get into Portugal in like 1 second, but when you go from Paris to Brussels, it's 211 miles. Okay, it took us an hour and 35 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes maybe to go from Paris to Brussels on the high speed rail. That's how long it takes to go from Grand Central Station to Beacon, New York, which is 65 miles. It takes basically like about an hour and 15 minutes, okay, on the express train, on the express. So, I mean, you know, and then to go from Brussels to London was like an hour and 45 minutes on the Eurostar. So when you're over there, you're able to go to so many amazing places in such a short amount of time. You can fly to Paris from Lisbon in an hour and a half. You can fly to Paris. You can fly to London from Lisbon in an hour and a half. You can go to Rome in 2 hours. You know, you can go to Crete in 2.5 hours. You know, these are amazing places in the world, man. That, you know, that we love to explore and see. And you know, I've been through this country, and I love this country, man. I love this. Is a beautiful country we have, man. If we stop destroying the freaking parks and the altitude, and we start getting back into the infrastructure of the country, you know, I couldn't believe that people were going and voting against the infrastructure bill when that's the heart and soul of your whole country. Is how does the whole thing run? And we're so divided right now, and there's so much hate. And we went to Portugal after friends of mine told me that we would love it there, and I've had friends that have lived there a few years. So we decided to go there and spend almost a month there. And man, the people were so kind, they were so nice, the food was amazing, the history there, and it's not too big. You know, it's a small country, and you know, you can go from Lisbon to Porto in like 3 hours, and the coast was unbelievable, man. The waves and the power and the nature there was truly just, you know, I think the whole coast of Portugal was like being just in Big Sur. That's what it all reminded me of, man. You know, the beach at Big Sur and everything with the cliffs and the whole deal. And the food was like, oh my God, the fish was so fresh. And like I said, you know, first of all, it's cheaper. Also, great health care they have over there. You know, we're probably going to get health care over there for like a ridiculous amount of money, private health care. And I'm very scared, to tell you the truth, of growing old in the United States. You know, you know, to go to a place and to have them take care of you in the United States is $4,000 a month. My God, man. I mean, you know, that's what they do to you when you get older and everything. I saw that with my mother, and she was 92, and she was struggling at the end because of COVID and what she couldn't do and everything like that. But you know, they seem like that's what it is. You know, I want to live a vital life till the end, man. You know, and I think that I can do that in Europe. Okay, Michael Brecker. Yeah, of course. Michael was my dear, dear friend. I don't have the career I have without Michael. Michael, in 1984, when we rehooked up after he got out of rehab and everything, you know, he of course realized that he couldn't hang out with the same people in the same place. And after we reconnected, and we started really going and exchanging music a lot and everything. I mean, he just started telling all these different producers about me and everything, and people started really calling me a lot more. Because no matter what anybody says, you can sell out 50 press kits, 100 CDs, or whatever. It's word of mouth that's going to get you your gig. It's word of mouth that's going to get it happening, and that's the most important thing, to make happen, is to get the word of mouth about what you're doing out there, man. As many people possible know it. And Michael was telling all these people, and one night, one night he introduced Lenny White to me and everything, and the next thing you know, I'm in the studio a few months later with Lenny White and Marcus Miller, and we're making the Jamaica Boys album. And then for 10 years, I worked with Marcus in the studio. For 10 years, we did like 30 albums together, at least. I mean, and I was able to learn about, production. People have asked me, you know, if I have an education, and I said, yeah, I have a PhD. And they go, oh, really? Where'd you get your PhD from? Well, I got my PhD from a few places. I got my PhD in production from the Tommy LaPuma and Marcus Miller School of Production. I went to the Luther Vandross School of Vocal Production, and I went to, just I guess the Tommy School of learning how to run a session and get musicians together and learn how to bring people together. That was 15 years of my life in the studio, and I can say that Michael was incredibly responsible for helping me so much, man. But that's the way he was. He was a brilliant, not only a brilliant player, of course, but an incredible human being. I mean, you have to be that, man. You have to be a great human being in this life to get to where you want to go to. I'm totally convinced. You know, um, I learned so many things, man, about musicians become your friends when they respect you. And one of the things I always learned about respect was that I always paid people right on time, right at the gig, right. That's how you go and you create the respect from people, knowing that you really understand the whole scene and how it works and how it happens. And I recommend everybody reading the Michael Brecker biography. It's Bill Milkowski did a great job on it. And the scary thing about it is that, just I was there for that whole so much of the period of that book and everything from probably like 1975 on. And that was the scene that was happening. There's nothing that's kind of, glossed over. I mean, it's down and it's dirty and it's like, gritty, and it's beautiful, and it's uplifting. It's all of that in that book about just one guy, man, about what he went through and everything, and how he came out of it and what you needed to come out of it. Because back in the 70s, man, and 80s, this town was fueled on drugs. Musicians were so many musicians were fueled on drugs. L.A. also. It was just the way that it was. There it is, biography of Michael Brecker. It's called the Ode to a Tenor Titan. And as a matter of fact, guess what? Here it is. Here's the book right over here. There's Mike, Ode to a Tenor Titan. Wonderful book. Great photos. Also in my book, oh man, I got some great photos I'm putting in the book also. Stuff nobody's ever seen before of Miles barbecuing at my house and Luther and I in the studio. I got pictures of Marcus when he had hair and sitting in the studio. We were all so young. I just have got thousands of pictures, and I'm going through them to share them in the book and everything. And the book's going to be available like online and everything. Yes, Indiana University, absolutely right. Indiana was a whole other state of mind for me. I met my wife there and everything. That was a deep. It also helps in this business when you do have some support also. So I'm at 5:25 right now. I'm gonna have to go in a few minutes. Time flies when you're having fun, right? I hope whoever came today enjoyed the talk, and will check back my Facebook page and everything. And you can follow me on Instagram. Go to my website and sign up for the mailing list, because I'm always putting interesting things over there. My website's really cool. I got a lot of photos and stories, and my last album is on there, Black Magic. And also, if you're on Bandcamp, I release new Black Magic tracks that are on Bandcamp now, that I made during the pandemic. And you can the website, on Facebook, and Instagram, and whatever the hell else. TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. That's a little too deep for me, man. If anybody understands what the hell TikTok is, can you please tell me? Because I don't know. I just see a bunch of chicks dancing and part one to part two to part four. I mean, but the whole thing is you get sucked into it, and the next thing you know, you're sitting there for an hour looking at man. You know, I can't figure that out. So let's see. If there's anything else, let me know. If not, um, like I said, anyway, what the hell is this with like Kyrie Irving, man, playing like just away games? Some of these guys, man, they just don't get it. There it is, JasonMilesMusic.com. So I'm gonna watch the Nets tonight. I'm gonna listen to music. Before I leave, anybody got an album suggesting for me to listen to tonight? I'm here to get a suggestion. I've heard a couple on Apple Music that I actually thought were pretty decent. This weekend, people wrote on my website stuff for me to listen to. The album that I picked out was the best album that I heard last weekend was Side Eye by Pat Metheny. Man, he's got Marcus Gilmore, man, and this James Francis on keyboards. It's just awesome. I leave it up to Pat, right? One of our greatest musicians to keep on going and probing and making it happen, man. So that's what you got to do. You got to keep on searching and going, and patience is the key. And try to get through this. Narada Michael Walden, Immortality. Yeah, okay. Immortality. I don't know if anybody's immortal, and maybe they are. But I think we're all going to meet the same fate one day, and it's the best karma you can bring with you, man. And just to know that wherever you are, man, that you can look back on your life and think that the whole thing was really worth it, man. And that you were surrounded by love and friendship and music and all things that made you happy, and that you gave a lot back to people also. And then what more can you ask? Uh, I don't know what else. Like I just turned 70, and no matter what anybody says, there is a little guy that comes popping in your head when you get those zeros that starts talking to you a little bit. So that's one of the things. Also, I'm moving. I want to get a nice quality of life. The weather's great, and you're all welcome to come and visit. You know, my wife will probably kill me for saying that, but always keep in touch, and I'll be on Facebook and everything like that. But we're not moving. I still got to sell my house. Joe Dyson and James Francis, killer players with Pat. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. No doubt about it. And I love that he's giving young cats a chance. Saw the Side Eye tour. Wow, I wish I would have seen that. But I wasn't going out and hearing music and everything. I have not been out to hear music. I'm not going to take the shot. I don't want to get it. We went all through Europe and didn't get anything, you know. But the attitude towards COVID is way different over there also, which you should look at. Everybody wears masks. A whole lot of people are vaccinated. There's no personal freedom, man. They just want to be out there at the cafes enjoying themselves, and they'll do whatever they need to do to make that happen. So okay, it's 5:30. I'm out of here, man. Peace. Where's my thing? Peace. Yeah, there we go. My little peace sign over there. Here's a little picture of my wife up there when I met her in college. I mean, come on, man. It's her birthday next week too. So everybody have a great one and take care and stay healthy and safe. Bye.